Hi, Bishop Ed Akers here, founder and director of Victorious Living International, overseer of Victorious Living Church and Ministries. I'm so delighted to be with you again today to bring my monthly report for May for our Victorious Living International partners and friends. I'm a little late getting this out, about 5 days late, but I'm just now getting recovered and kind of back to normal from our 10-day stint in the Philippine Islands. That's probably the primary part of this report. We thank God that while we were there, we were able to be on ministry time basically from the moment we hit the ground to the moment we left. We had 1 day off, but we were traveling 8 hours between cities on that day off. We thank God that we were able to have a crusade with thousands of people in attendance, where we saw over 475 salvations. You're a partner to that. You share in the reward of every soul saved for Jesus Christ. And then the youth rally the next night, second night there, I'm not really sure how many salvations we had because the entire crowd of young people, hundreds and hundreds, packed to the front of the gymnasium that we were in. And Pastor Brent brought a powerful message that touched that generation. They were weeping before the Lord, worshiping in great passion. I would not doubt that we saw at least 400 or 500 more people saved that night. It's really difficult to get any kind of count, and the count's not really what matters. I mean, it does matter that the souls are saved. And we're not trying to impress anybody with numbers. We just want you to know that people are coming to Christ. We had pastors' conferences throughout the day. Those first couple of days, those were very fruitful, meeting with local pastors and setting up a VLI worldwide network of ministers that I'm developing. We're going to be discipling these pastors for 12 months in the Philippines. Many of these are church planters that are cutting new ground. And speaking of new ground, the third day that we were there, we went into the mountains, to a mountaintop, through a jungle area that had been a Muslim rebel hideout for decades. The government began to cut roads through this mountain. It used to be just dirt trails, rock trails, rough roads to get through. The government's actually putting paved roads up into this mountain, which has helped push away many of these Muslim rebel groups that cause so much havoc in that part of the world. But on top of that mountain is a church building with an outdoor open kitchen and shelter, a comfort room, which is basically a restroom for them, and a new spot off to the side of this church for another building. We hope to have a 24-hour prayer retreat area on this mountain. Now, this mountain was inhabited by mostly rebel troops that caused problems. Today, on top of that mountain sits a church built by Victorious Living International Partners from the ground up. The entire structure, concrete floor, walls, ceilings, furniture, sound system. We purchased all of that right before we got there. The kitchen, the comfort room, everything about that building has been excavated and constructed by your donations. Your donations. Wow. You have a Victorious Living International Church sitting on the hillside where there used to be a Muslim stronghold. I'm not even sure what to do to how to help anybody understand the impact of that. God is so powerful to do things like that, and we're thankful for it. We're thankful that we have this, chance and this opportunity to be a part of what God is doing around the world. And then the next day we traveled from that city to the next city. And in that city, we held pastors' conference with about 300 pastors, maybe a little bit more. We also held Sunday services there and revival services, but our main thrust there was to reconnect with our contacts, partners on the ground, and talk about 2023 and 2024 crusades. And we've been developing some ideas about that. So that's in the works. But while we were there, we were able to minister with some of our dear friends, talk to pastors there. There's a lot of new pastors. There's a lot of changes that have come. We also I preached on a Sunday for Bishop Randy, who you've been watching. We're building living quarters off of their house, helping build it with some other people it's not just for him, it's also for Bible study students, Bible college students that are interning there. We also found 2 children to do Project Smile with, cleft palates, and one of those just received it this past week. Trying to find the other child. I got a picture of him, but he was just in the crowd at another venue that we were at. So this will be hopefully 2 Project Smiles. Yada is still, I've met Yada. We did a Project Smile on her several months ago. She's got many other developmental issues. There is plan to get phase 2 of her cleft palate repair, but the doctors are trying to get some assessment as to other parts of her care that need to happen. Pray that we can help Yada get the care she needs and eventually fix that cleft palate completely. We thank God for this program. It's dear to my heart. I feel like it's one of the most impactful things we can do for an individual is to help fix that cleft palate for these children. So that's really it in a nutshell. We were able to see hundreds of people come to the Lord. We saw miracles, wonderful miracles, healing miracles. One of the most impressive was a 4-inch mass on a thyroid of a young girl that melted down to almost nothing. And she felt the burning of God. She felt almost like burning happening, and that thing shrunk down. Thank God for that. Paralyzed man and one arm was totally drawn up. His arm came free, and he began to use it and shake my hand and touch me. And Pastor Brent saw healings too on his side, and so many we just didn't even document. We're not there to just document things and take pictures. We're there to touch people's lives. And to God be all the glory. Amen. As far as VLI goes going forward, I have an opportunity for you to help me. I'm going to Africa on June 17th. This is in conjunction with another organization that I'm a part of, Ministers Fellowship International. And I'll be one of the speakers in their 4-day pastors conference, as well as preaching in a couple of churches in Awala, Africa. That is near Port Harcourt, several hours, 6 or 7 hours out of Lagos. This will be my first time in that part of Nigeria. I've been to Nigeria before. My expenses to get there are covered already, but we have a $5,000 obligation. That $5,000 obligation is for our portion of the pastors' conferences to help conduct those conferences, help bring the pastors in, and take care of the expenses associated with that. I'm traveling with Pastor David Freck, and we're partnering together on this. Also, he is bringing a couple medical teams with him. And so there'll be some medical care because there's a hospital associated with the ministry there. We're going to get connected to that ministry in Awale and find out how we can become a part of what's happening there a little bit more. That's going to be exciting. So $5,000 will help us there. Probably the bigger project that I want you to really consider helping me with is this church in Pakistan. We're stalled on that right now. We bought bricks for this church, for this persecuted church. If I back the story up just real quick, there was a church that developed out of some of our Zoom crusades. I just conducted a Zoom crusade 5 minutes ago. I just got off the call. Hundreds of people raised their hand to give their life to Jesus. People are being touched right now. The team is praying for people even as I'm talking. One of those Zoom crusades, months and months ago, a church developed. The only place they could meet was on the street because they have too many people to try to meet in a house. This is a very remote village. It's a Muslim-controlled nation and a Muslim-controlled area. When they try to preach, when they try to have any kind of meetings, they have been beaten off the street by the authorities and by the public. They're not allowed to make the noise. Well, really it has to do with their faith. So we bought a piece of land in this city. That piece of land was about $8,000 by the time we were able to purchase it. We have put $2,500 toward the bricks to build the building. Now we want to get the foundation cut, laid, and start building the walls. Probably somewhere around $7,000 to $8,000 more to finish this church facility so it's sufficient for them. That's just basic shell. And I need your help to do it. I need your help. Obviously, enough of you get together and donate toward this, we could see the funds we need to build that church building. I'd like to get that persecuted people off the street so they can gather and worship in peace. If they have a building, they can control the noise. The chances of them being beaten and told not to meet becomes much less of a problem. So those are two things that I could use some immediate help with: the Africa trip and the church in Pakistan. If you have the means and the ability to give significantly toward that and you'd like to finish that church, contact me and I'll let you know what we need and how we can get that done. But every gift helps. And I know these reports are not just about raising money, but we're coming up close to a year now since we began VLI. And we've been just very generous with everything that's been given to do projects. And right now we could use your help in kind of refilling our resources so that we have plenty to go forward and finish these projects. And so anything you can do, go to victoriouslivinginternational.com, victoriouslivinginternational.com, and you'll find a donate button. If you're a partner, we need your gift on a monthly basis if you're a monthly partner. And this is about the time of month that we start distributing funds, so we'd like to have those by now. Also, if you're a VKid sponsor, I did visit with the VKids of the Philippines and gave them backpacks and a meal, and that was a wonderful time. And that was is also something we're going to be sending funds out for this week. And so it's helpful if you can get those monthly promises in about right now, about this time of month, about 15th to the 20th. And then finally, we also did dedicate the radio station. If you remember that, we constructed a radio station off of our original founding partners, and that went wonderfully well. We were there, dedicated it, broadcast from it. We support that monthly. We keep that going every month. It would not have an engineer, disc jockey, or program manager without us. And that person is sponsored by us, and they keep that station rolling 24/7. Christian broadcasting, community service, it's a powerful thing there, and it's being used as we had advertised it would be used and as we promised it would be used. We have a Pakistan trip coming up in October, so just to back up a little bit, I need help today or as soon as possible with this church in Pakistan. Even if I can send them a couple $1,000s this month, they can start getting the foundation dug and laid. Also, the trip to Africa. I would really want you to pray about helping support the pastors in Africa with that $5,000 gift. Now that could be, in any way you want to help give it. Small amount, large amounts, all add up together. So when you go online, just give to Victorious Living International and we'll know exactly what it's for. You can also send me a private message through my messenger or other ways that you can contact with us on social media. I don't like these to be longer than 10 minutes. It's 13 minutes, so I'm going to get off of here, but there's so much happening with VLI. We will be coming back to you in July, August, and September, seeking partnership for 2022-23. We'll be up with our full year, and we'd love to have 50 partners who will commit to $1,000 next year. You'll be hearing more about that. That will help us really get a lot of projects done, and most of our travel monies will be covered just with that injection of funds. And then we can expand from there. Victorious Living is doing wonderful things, and the partnership has been powerful. And we're working on a trip to Israel in 2023, 24 in that area. Working with a friend of mine here in the city who's made several trips. We're gonna offer you a trip where you not only go and see the sites in Israel, but you'll be able to do some missions work. We hope to have a tentative date set for that pretty soon and come to you and let you know what that might entail. So we're moving forward, and because of my partners, we're able to do what I did today, preach to people in Pakistan without ever leaving my office, but yet reaching the world because of your help. Thank you, partners. Love you. I pray for you. I want the best that God has for you. Help me reach the world, will you? Help me take this message of the victorious living gospel of Jesus Christ to every boy, girl, young man, young woman, person I can find in every nation we're privileged to go to. I love you. God bless you. Have a great day. And I hope this has been helpful to know what's happening with us.